Hello there. Welcome to Breakfast All Day. I am Christy. That is Alonso. That is Matt. First up for us today is The Little Things, which is not a movie about me and my fellow short people. No.
No, I thought it was a movie about the MAGA bro dicks.
Dude. Hey, so it's a movie with lots of stars, with lots of Oscars.
Yes. So many Oscars floating around. Denzel Washington plays a Kern County sheriff's deputy. Kern County, for those of you who don't live in California, is near it's where Bakersfield is. It's sort of inland. It's more kind of a rural agricultural area.
It's on the way to Vegas.
Yes,
North.
Exactly. That too. Yes, it's somewhere. Anyway, he is sent to Los Angeles to pick up some evidence for a trial there. And we learned that he used to be a hotshot detective in the LA Sheriff's Department and left under reasons that people aren't dying to talk about. And not everybody there is dying to see him again. But he does strike up a friendship with the department's new hotshot detective, rising young guy played by Rami Malek. And Rami Malek's character is trying to figure out a serial killer case and could use the assistance of the older and wiser Denzel. And there is a very prime red herring played by Jared Leto, who is acting as hard as he can in this film. This is from writer-director John Lee Hancock, who did a movie I liked years ago called The Rookie, and since then has done very averagey company man kind of stuff like Saving Mr. Banks and The Founder and The Alamo and
The Blind Side.
And The Blind Side.
Sandra Bullock got her Oscar in The Blind Side.
She did indeed. This is one of those movies where it's like, okay, it's going to pivot from being a procedural about a serial killer to a character study about cops and what they're haunted by, and that's fine, except the cop characters are not interesting in the slightest, and not things we've seen in a million other movies. And this is a movie that, like, in my review of TheWrap, I said it feels like a season of True Detective, because you've got famous people playing conflicted cops and old cases having a bearing on new cases. But it also feels like an 8-episode show crammed into a 2-hour movie with lots of stuff cut off. Like, there's a whole subplot, you would think, about religion or God or something, because Denzel Washington character keeps pointing out how, like, their boss Terry Kinney is a member of this church, and he's so is Rami Malek. And then every time Denzel drives by the Hollywood Cross monument, he's looking up at it. They never do anything with that. It never comes up. It never pays off in any way. Lots of stuff like that where it's like, well, this is surely going to mean something. The fact that it's set in 1990 is going to mean something, right? No, just that nobody has a cell phone and there's no internet. Like, that's it. This is a very disappointing movie from a lot of people who should be doing better stuff.
Well, do you guys know the whole backstory with this movie?
This was supposed to come out 25 years ago, right around the time of Seven, because that's what it seems like.
Yeah, he wrote it in 1993, and it's been kicking around since then. And Steven Spielberg was originally supposed to direct this. And then at a different point in time, Clint Eastwood was supposed to direct it, and also Danny DeVito. And the fact that it's set in 1990, I think, is mainly to, A, yes, have people not have cell phones, but B, I think they're trying to capitalize on the fear that spread throughout Southern California during the Night Stalker. And so making it take place now is like 2 generations removed from that fear. And people were like, who's the Night Stalker? But 1990 was close enough to, like, when was it? It was early 80s was the Night Stalker?
Yeah, I think there's a whole Netflix series about this that I'm currently not watching. So
anyway, so I think that is partly it too. Yeah, this just feels like a long episode of CSI with a cast full of Oscar winners. And in that, they have the kind of snappy banter from character actors in supporting roles who get to say, like, the witty quip here and there. And there's, they've all got a background tie to each other somehow. And it's sort of like a slow burn. I like the score. Thomas Newman did the score. It's sort of a slow simmer. It's okay for like the first third or so. And then Jared Leto just comes swooping in from a whole nother movie. And he is tearing the shit out of the scenery. And it's so mannered and so distracting and so totally not on the same wavelength with what everybody else is doing.
Well, I was already hating Rami Malek in this movie because he's been directed not to blink. So he's just like...
His eyes are very intense.
And it doesn't go with the character. I thought, is he the serial killer? Is that the twist here? But it's like, no, he's just giving this weird performance. And then Jared Leto sweeps in. It's like, okay, that's one category of terrible performance, but this is a whole other thing.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Jared Leto is clearly trying to do Kevin Spacey in Seven here. He absolutely is. It also, like, the problem is, you cast somebody like Jared Leto in the role that he's in, and it's the economy of casting. He's gonna be important, right? And I don't necessarily agree with you, Alonso, that it's a complete red herring. But
I'm trying to avoid spoilers.
Right. There are some twists.
There are some twists. If this movie had come out in the 90s, this would be a pretty solid cop movie. It probably
solid anyway.
It would be. Look, like, it would be okay. It would be one of those ones, like, that would show up on cable all the time and like, oh, this one, okay.
Right,
like,
with Ashley Judd and Morgan Freeman.
Right, it's fine.
It's of that genre.
Young Edward Norton.
Right, it's like an airport novel.
Well, right, but you could see Denzel doing this 25 years ago. This was totally in his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
It's
He's
okay,
fine in this.
But part of the problem is it's like, first of all, it's 20 minutes, at least 20 minutes too long. Like, it takes its
over
time
2 hours
to do anything.
And yet it feels unresolved in the ways that Alonso pointed out. Like, there's all kinds of strands that don't get tied up.
But to Matt's point, it gets to some payoffs at the end. We're like, oh yeah, that was so long ago. I've already forgotten that was important.
Right. No, the whole church thing, I think those were just throwaway lines. I didn't actually think that was that big a deal. I think that was just a metaphor for, like, internal politics. I wasn't bored through this. Like, it kept my interest just enough, but it's relatively forgettable. And I mean, it's like, it's all right. Like, I've seen worse. Like,
it really falls apart in the third act, though. Like, the thing that's supposed to be the big climax feels very much like a fizzle.
And it's maddening in a way that I cannot talk about without getting into spoilers, but just suffice to say, the ending is maddening.
Yeah.
It's like there wasn't any trust.
But the other, I can't help but wonder.
But also, like, in a sort of socio-political sense too. But again, can't talk about.
We won't talk about it. Yeah.
But here's the other thing, and at the, like, I know people are going to complain about me being, me doing the SJW thing, but, like, God, at this point, do we need more cop movies chasing down serial killers that prey on women? Like,
well, it feels
already.
really, like, old in that regard, right?
And that's like, have we not moved? Like, do we have different stories now? Because I've seen that movie 100 million times.
Could we have an autopsy without tits? Is that asking so much?
Right. Like,
although I really like Michael Hyatt as the coroner. Yeah, no, I like Michael Hyatt as a coroner.
Right. He's good. But, like, why can't he kill dudes? Kill dudes. Come on.
And I like that the relationship between Michael Hyatt and Denzel Washington, because there's some kind of something there.
I would have liked
interesting spark.
One other scene in the middle of their two big moments together that I think would have made it, like, pay off more. I don't know. She's good. I like her, and I like the idea of those two characters and what the history they share. But I again, this movie is both too long and too short. So,
but there's some elements that I thought worked okay. Like, when, the movie does a decent job, I thought, at least in the first and even second act, of not spoon feeding you everything, because, like, he shows up at the LA Sheriff's Department and they all know him and they're like, oh, hey,
you're back.
Right. And there's I bought that, right? Like, they really sell that everybody knows him and they're all kind of like, and they don't tell you what's going on,
what that's about. Yeah.
Right. And it's left up to your imagination, and, like, God only knows what it is. And then you hear, then there's the one witness that you find out about. You think, oh, geez, what did he do to that guy? And
I mean, Denzel's good because he can't help but show up and be good. He's Denzel. You know?
I mean, he can do this in his sleep, and one might argue that that is what he's doing. But I mean, it's fine. He can. This is like Denzel degree of difficulty 2, and he just walks in and does what you think he's going to do, and he does it very well, and he goes home and
he does what it says on the box.
Can I tell you one thing I liked about this movie? This is a discussion we have here quite a bit. The geography is accurate.
True.
When he's on the 101 north to the 170 to get to the 405 to the 5, That's all accurate. He's on the 33, which comes off of what? The 101 when you're going up toward
You don't take the
Ojai.
170
They do
to the
find-
405 though.
No, at one point there's a 170 to the 4 to the right. There's a split, and the two different
No,
points.
it's
on the
the
They
freeway.
one-
do find corners of Los Angeles that you haven't seen a million times in movies before,
Right.
which I will always give them credit for that.
Santa Clarita. They get
For
up at
instance.
Placerita Canyon Road. Off the 14.
The Californians.
I like this. Stuart, what are you doing here? So anyway, that's what one thing I always like. So good on you, John Lee Hancock, for getting the LA freeways right.
Yeah. So yeah, beyond that, this is premiering on HBO Max for a month. But it's also in theaters, but don't go to theaters, and especially don't go to theaters for this.
No, what's your number, Alonso?
I gave it a 3. I just was really disappointed, and it's just not. I wasn't engaged.
4.2 from me.
4.8.
Our number is a 4.
So yeah, like this video, won't you? Subscribe to this YouTube channel that you're on. Follow us at BeFastAllDay on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. A lot of fun stuff exclusive for our subscribers right now. We're talking about Bridgerton, and we're talking about WandaVision, and there's a lot to talk about. So check that out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.